All right, fifth graders, this is the last video for this week. Lesson 3, talking about the spheres. So we are talking about the biosphere this week, and when we finished off our last video, we were thinking about how does the biosphere interact with the hydrosphere? How does it work with the hydrosphere? So this was one of the pictures we looked at, and we wanted to think about how is the biosphere, and remember the biosphere that we identified in this picture were the lily pads, the flower, and possibly a fish that is underneath there that's orange. So how are those things working with the hydrosphere? So what I wrote down is that plants and trees need water to grow. So in this picture, the lily pads and the flower would need that water to grow. It depends on that water to be a healthy plant or flower so that it can grow. In this picture, we can see that the living things are actually living in the water. So this is their habitat. This is their home. In this picture, I don't know if you can see it very well, but towards the bottom of the screen, you can see that there's some water. And the reason that there are so many animals in this area is because there is water there. The animals will typically spend time in the areas where there is a pond or a river or some source of water because, as we know, animals need water to drink. So, those are examples of how the biosphere interacts with the hydrosphere. The biosphere depends on the hydrosphere for its survival. So now in your science notebooks, I want you to think about this question, and I want you to write a good paragraph on two parts of each of these two parts for this question. So your first paragraph, I want you to think about what would happen to the biosphere if something bad happened to the hydrosphere. So think about the ways that the hydrosphere might change and how would that be bad for the biosphere. And then your second paragraph, I want you to think about what would happen to the biosphere if something good happened to the hydrosphere. If the hydrosphere changed in a good way, what would that do? How would that affect the biosphere? Since we can see from our observations of the pictures, the biosphere and the hydrosphere interact quite a bit, and the biosphere depends on that hydrosphere. So, what would happen if something bad happened to the hydrosphere? And then what would happen if something good happened to the hydrosphere? So I want a paragraph for each of those. Your paragraph should be at least 5 to 6 sentences long. And if you want to send me that work, I'd love to see it. And as always, if you have any other thoughts you'd like to share with me, my email address is diana.capel@ops.org.